In today's video, I'll be sharing some yummy and easy recipes that also happen to be vegan and cheap to make, making them perfect for you to stick to your budget. And make sure you stick till the end for a summery recipe that will make you feel like you're having dinner by a beach in the Mediterranean. If you've been to the supermarket recently, I'm sure you've noticed that the price of everything has skyrocketed, so I specifically chose recipes that you can keep within your budget without breaking the bank. Let's get started. For breakfast, I was actually super hungry, so I decided to make the fastest thing I could think of, which is toast with homemade tofu ricotta. This is perfect for those busy mornings when you want something fast and high protein but only have 5 minutes to spare. To make the ricotta, I simply added a block of tofu in my food processor, the juice of half a lemon, a couple tablespoons of nutritional yeast, some salt and a few tablespoons of water. I blended it up and then I thought it needed a bit of olive oil to make it more creamy, so I added a couple of tablespoons and a bit more water and blended it up again until it reached my desired consistency, basically until it looked like ricotta. And now onto making breakfast. I sliced a bit of my bread and put it in the toaster to toast for a few minutes. And while it's toasting, I sliced a tomato in medium slices for my toppings. I topped my toast with loads of tofu cheese and then topped with my tomato slices. I added a bit of olive oil on top and seasoned with a bit of salt. And after I had this, I was actually really craving another little something, and since coming back from holiday in Spain, I've been obsessed with pan con tomato, so for my other slice, I decided to make a homemade version, which I didn't realize how easy it is to recreate at home. But first, I juiced some oranges for a freshly squeezed orange juice, as again, I've been having this every day while on holiday, and these are blood oranges, so even tastier. And now for my pan con tomato, I simply grated the tomato, making sure I leave the skin behind. I then added my toast on my plate and then topped with the grated tomato. And the beauty of making this at home is I can layer a lot of tomato, so I added a thick layer and spread it evenly. I topped with some olive oil and finished with some sea salt, and our delicious pan con tomato is ready. And that breakfast kept me full for hours, but then it was finally time for lunch, and today I'm making a vegan version of shakshuka. And I know what you're thinking, how can you make a vegan shakshuka without eggs? Well, let me show you how. I started by adding some olive oil in my pan, letting it warm through, and then added my chopped up onion. I stirred it around and let it saute for a few minutes. And while the onion is cooking, I chopped up half a pepper in small pieces. If you're enjoying this video so far, by the way, and would like to see more cheap and easy recipes, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any future Mediterranean recipes. Okay, back to the recipe. I added the pepper in with the onions and let them cook for a few minutes as well, stirring occasionally. I added a can of chopped tomatoes, a bit of water, and also some tomato paste. And then for spices, I'm keeping it simple with some paprika and garlic powder. I added those in and then let it simmer on medium heat. I then grabbed a can of chickpeas and rinsed them well with water. And after 10 minutes or so, the sauce has reduced and I realized I had forgotten to add a bit of sugar and pepper, so I added those in and then added about half a can of the chickpeas. I mixed them around to get coated in the tomato-y sauce and then topped with some of my homemade tofu ricotta. For herbs, I'm using some fresh parsley, so I chopped it up and then sprinkled it around my meal. And for my side/salad, I decided to make a quick cucumber salad, so I chopped half a cucumber and then cut it up in slices. I added it to my bowl and then added lots of vinegar and some sea salt. This is the fastest salad but tastes so delicious and is so refreshing. I also chopped a bit more bread and toasted it, as that sauce definitely needs a good chunk of bread to be dipped in. I served myself some of the shakshuka and added my bread on the side, and lunch was ready. Super quick to make but so good. I'm so excited. This smells amazing. I just love paprika, and that breakfast kept me full for so long, and I think it must be because of the tofu, because it was just bread and tomato otherwise. I had planned for this to be my breakfast, but it's now 12 o'clock. Yeah, let's try because I can't wait any longer. I'm so amazed. It's the first time I've made it with chickpeas and also just the whole thing. But I feel like the ricotta just adds so much more flavor. It's actually very different. I didn't warm it through the whole thing, just put it on top, but even that little bit that it's cooked, it's actually giving a much different flavor to my breakfast, which I had it raw. It's so good. I'll try a bit with the bread because I have a feeling that will be even better. This bread is amazing. So good. I love fresh bread. So good. We'll give it 9 out of 10, because there's always room for improvement, right? Well, my food was almost ready. I just had a craving for some cucumber with a bit of vinegar and salt, because I just love that. It's just one of my favorite sides. It's not really a side, it's just cucumber, but it's so good, especially if you have the Greek vinegar. I know it's a bit difficult to find in the UK. I think there is one online supermarket that does it. My parents brought me a while back and I still have one left, so I'm enjoying it as much as I can before I run out. But yeah, so good. Combination of this is perfect. I'm happy. So for my groceries, I actually went to Lidl because I find that's one of the best supermarkets in terms of price, but also the quality of the produce is actually good, because I've been to some other budget supermarkets. I ended up throwing some of the produce because it was actually just inedible. I think you could taste the pesticide and just it wasn't nice. So I feel like Lidl has the perfect balance between price and quality. So yeah, I went there. I'll show you what I got. There were a couple of things that I didn't find, which I was surprised. Usually I can't find them, but I'll tell you later on. Let's show you what I got. So yeah, I couldn't find any tofu and capers. I actually couldn't find any capers on my local supermarket either. I think maybe there's a... I'm gonna sneeze. Oh! Shall we learn another Greek word? Yeast, which is bless you. Anyways, yeah, I couldn't find any capers. I think I might have some in the fridge, but I wanted to buy everything so I can have all the new prices and stuff like that, so it's easier for me to put them on the screen for you. But yeah, I got some tofu from the local supermarket, but I wanted to tell you that Lidl actually has amazing tofu. It's very similar to the cauldron. It's organic and it's super cheap. So yeah, it's not super firm, but I like both super firm and like the cauldron type, which is, I would say, like firm but not like super firm like the tofu company one. Yeah, so much chat about tofu, but I love tofu. So yeah, that's the only thing I couldn't find at Lidl, but generally speaking, I always can find the tofu and everything I want. So I've had my breakfast / lunch / brunch, and now of course I want something sweet, and I have bananas. I actually have my birthday cake, but it's not vegan and I'm keeping it vegan today. But do you want to see my birthday cake? Because it's so pretty. I will show you. This bakery also does vegan cakes. I'll leave in the description which bakery I went to. If you're also in Sheffield and are interested for a birthday cake, let me show you my cake and then let's make a banana bread. We've had half, so we've done well, I think, for just 2 people eating the cake, and a bit of Lily, of course. It's orange and raspberry flavor, and it's just delicious. I actually had some things in the cupboard already, but I will try and find some prices from Tesco or something, because Tesco is also quite cheap. I had some all-purpose flour. I always have flour in the house because I'm always baking or like need it for certain things. And then things like baking powder, cinnamon. I obviously had bananas because we eat them almost every day. They weren't as ripe as I would like, but I think it'll be fun. Can't wait. I really want something sweet. Let's make it. To make the banana bread, I started by peeling 3 bananas and adding them to my bowl. I then mashed them with my fork, and if the bananas are nice and ripe, this step is actually super easy, but my bananas were a bit firm, so that step took a while, but I finally mashed them. I then added some brown sugar and some olive oil and stirred the mixture with a whisk. Once everything was combined well, I added my dry ingredients, so all-purpose flour, some baking powder and lots of cinnamon. I then switched my whisk for a spatula and folded the mixture to incorporate everything well. And I like to do this with a spatula instead of whisking it to make sure I leave enough air in the mixture and I get a nice fluffy cake. I added some olive oil in my loaf tin and spread it around so my banana bread doesn't stick to the tin. I added the banana bread mixture in the tin and then gave it a good shake and a few taps to make sure it's evenly distributed and any bubbles can escape. I baked it in a preheated oven for about 30 minutes and now my banana bread is ready. I let it cool for a bit before taking it out of the tin and then sliced it in good chunks to enjoy as my afternoon sweet treat. I am so excited. I've waited for this for way too long. I'm ready for my sweet treat. It's very good, very fluffy, very moist. I think The recipe didn't ask for salt, but I actually put a tiny bit, and I think it actually needs a tiny bit more. I feel like all sweet things need a tiny bit of salt to just bring out all the flavors and everything. So it's a shame actually, because I thought it doesn't ask for it, but I'm gonna do it anyways, and I should have done a bit more, but and it's still moist and nice. I love it. So yummy. Very light. It's not my usual recipe. I have one that I always follow by Chocolate Covered Katie, and that's like just my favorite. It does ask for yogurt, and her recipe's vegan yogurt because I think all of her recipes are plant-based and vegan, but I never have vegan yogurt in the house. I do have, and I do make it with real yogurt because I'm not vegan, but yeah, I thought for this recipe I try a different one because obviously that doesn't ask for vegan yogurt. It's good to try something new, you know? But I will be going back to my usual. I'm happy. I'm having another piece because I need the energy to cook dinner.
And I saved the best for last. We're making a super summery pasta dish with fresh tomato, capers, olives, and of course our homemade tofu ricotta to make this dish not only delicious but also high in protein. I started by adding some olive oil in my pan, adding my chopped up onion and seasoning with salt. I let the onion saute for a few minutes and then also added some boiling water in a separate pan for my pasta. I seasoned with salt and then added my pasta to boil. In the meantime, I washed some baby tomatoes and added them to my pan with the onions. I stirred them around to get coated in the oil and also added some of the starchy water that the pasta has been boiling in to help the sauce thicken. And for some reason, capers to me make every dish taste so much more summery, so I added a couple of spoonfuls to the pan too. While the sauce is cooking, I also took the stone out of a few Kalamata olives and chopped them up in small pieces. I also took some basil leaves out of my new basil plant, washed them well, and also chopped them up in small pieces, ready to add to my dish. And after a few minutes, the tomato should have opened up a bit. You can see the tomato skin has opened, so I just used my spoon to flatten them and release their yummy juices. I did that for all the tomatoes as that's the base of our sauce. I stirred it around, seasoned with some more pepper, and then when the pasta was ready, I added them to the pan with the tomato sauce. I stirred them around to make sure it's all coated in the tomatoey goodness, and then topped with some of our homemade ricotta, the olives and the basil. And I like to do the olives last, as otherwise if they stew in the sauce for too long they can release a bitter flavor, so I prefer to add them at the end. I topped with a bit more olive oil and our summery pasta dish is ready. When I was ready to serve, I mixed everything well so the ricotta can get warmed through and coat all the pasta. For my dinner, I also served a bit of rocket on the side and added some olive oil and vinegar. I then added a good portion of my pasta and dinner was ready. And this smelled delicious and so summery, it honestly felt like I was by the beach in Greece.
Ready for dinner. I can't wait. This feels so heavy. I got very excited and put myself a massive bowl of pasta, but is there anything better than a massive bowl of pasta for dinner? It's so good. It's very summery and I think the capers give it almost like a fishy / seafoody flavor, which I'm enjoying because it feels like you're by the sea, enjoying your pasta. Life is good. It's so good. I'm very happy with it, and you can't taste, I mean, I know it's tofu, but it doesn't taste like tofu in the pasta, and it's melted into like how ricotta would melt, so I'm quite happy with that. And yeah, not much else to say. It's a good pasta, and it was so fast to make. Like basically by the time your pasta is ready, the tomatoes are ready to burst, and then you can put everything together as you saw, and it was ready. Yeah, I think 10-15 minutes is all you need, and you got an amazing, delicious dinner or lunch. Oh, it smells so good. Why am I doing this to myself? If you enjoyed this video and would like to see 3 of my favorite yummy Mediterranean breakfast bowls, you can check out this video, and I'll see you on the next one.